Hey there, everybody. It's Dr. Steve here with Kineci, and this is your Understanding Your Pain. And this, we're talking about your Achilles tendinitis, and this is part 2, where we're going into lengthening and strengthening just a little bit more. In the first one, we talked a little bit more about the education. We talked about some of the signs and symptoms. We talked a little bit about the kinetic chain, or the connectedness. The heel and the Achilles attach up to the calf all the way up to the leg. So now, following that kinetic chain, here's where we're going to do the hip flexor stretch. This is one of my favorite stretches. This is one of your best anti-sitting stretches, but we get so much bang for our buck with this. We get the calf in the Achilles, we get the hip flexor, and all these parts that get gummed up with lots of sitting. So we can do it a couple of ways. One of them is putting your foot onto a chair, and this would be as if this was a door jamb or a doorway, and your foot goes onto the chair, you're hanging on to the door jamb, and we're going to do some stretches. You can also do this where you don't have your feet elevated, but you're hanging on to something, and this is a great travel version. The longer the stride, the bigger the stretch. A little shorter stride, a smaller stretch. When we elevate our foot, that goes back to a bigger stretch. But this is a great way as an anti-sitting stretch. And we're going to follow the same theme that we established in part 1, where we did some reaches and we did some lengthening, but then we did it with the toes pointed forward, turned in, turned out. We're going to do the same thing. Maybe I got my hands backwards. Anyway, here we go. We're going to be hanging on, the foot goes onto the chair, the hands are hanging on for some balance. We take the body, we go forward and back. We're really trying to keep that back heel down. When it's tight in the calf, it will want to peel up. We're trying to keep that heel down. And then we're going to do our 3 directions, our side to side. We're going to do some circles each way. But then what we're going to do is we're going to angle the toes out just a little bit. And we're going to do that same sequence, forward and back with the body, the side to side, going in circles both ways. And then we're going to repeat it with the toes turned in. And so that's the pattern that we're using for this little sequence. We're doing toes straight, toes in, toes out, and then going through the same sequence, taking the hips and the body, doing our forwards and back, or side to side, doing circles each way. And I will give you a quick kind of demonstration of the difference between those guys. So first one being where everything is pointed forward, all the toes are pointed forward, and we do our forward, our side to side with the body, circles each way, and then we went to the toes pointed out, same moves with the body, forward, side to side, circles, and then we did toes turned in, and going through the same sequence of movements. So each time we change the start position, we change the angles that the joints are at, and we change the emphasis on the muscle groups. So there we were doing a hip flexor stretch. I want to get you doing both sides. I was just demonstrating the one, but we do it with the toes forward, we do it with the toes in, and we do it with the toes out. So be sure to keep moving, and if you or anybody that you know are having a hard time with some Achilles or some calf pain or heel pain, don't let them sit there and suffer. Bring them in, let us figure it out and come up with a plan to get them feeling better and moving better. So be sure to tune in for part 3, and until then, keep moving, everybody.